The Calgary Flames have officially been eliminated from the 2017-18 National Hockey League playoffs. And, if that wasn't bad enough news to make your Tuesday feel like a Monday, with a 3-0 loss to the Los Angeles Kings at Staples Center, the losing skid is now up to 6 straight games without the leading scorer Johnny Gaudreau, top-line center Sean Monahan who is done for with wrist, hip issues, and Matthew Tkachuk who is still sidelined with an upper body injury. Their offense has dried up during this half-dozen game slide, including a 5-1 loss at San Jose on Saturday. They have been outscored 28-6, no surprise then, that their power play is now 0 for 24 in the last 9 games and is 1 for 42 in the last 14 games. The Kings scored all 3 goals on the man advantage. It's kind of like when your dad says, "I'm not mad, I'm disappointed," said Flames goalie Mike Smith, who has dropped to 1.60 since returning from a lower body injury. It's that feeling. It's a feeling of disappointing, like you're letting the city of Calgary down, you're letting the organization down. You couldn't come in here and get through and get into a playoff spot and play for the Stanley Cup. You're trying to do that. Disappointment is probably the best word for it. The Flames' 36-year-old netminder did as much as he could, facing 29 shots in the defeat. But 3 penalties added up to 3 goals and Sam Bennett was to blame for 2 of them. First, had taken a sloppy high-sticking penalty on Ans Kopitar with 3:59 elapsed in the middle frame, clipping the Kings captain in the chops. He was in the box for 5 seconds before Dion Phaneuf scored on a screenshot from the point. Interestingly, it was Phaneuf's first ever goal against the Flames. Then, while the Flames were on a power play, Alec Martinez had taken a roughing penalty after a shoving match with Mark Giordano behind the Kings' net. Bennett negated the man advantage with a tripping penalty on Christian Folin, creating a brief 4-on-4 situation. When it was over and the Flames were back on the penalty kill, the Kings struck again. Kopitar found space under Smith's arm to notch his 34th goal of the at the 11:55 mark. "Anytime you take a penalty and the other team scores, it doesn't feel good," was Bennett's response. "Anytime you take 3 penalties in a game, it's not going to help your team win. I'm frustrated with that, for sure." For good measure, Jeff Carter buried his own rebound at 8:24 of the third with Giordano off for a delay of the game, puck over the glass penalty. You don't have to be smart to look at the game sheet and say, you know what, 3 power play goals and we were 0 for 3 on the power play. That's the difference, said head coach Glenn Guluthson. The Flames are 3-5, 3-2, 1-0 and it was the first game in 12 that they hadn't outshot a team. Jonathan Quick made 23 saves for his 31st win of the year. As for Tkachuk's favorite dueling partners, the Kings 4-2-8-7 moved into a wild card spot in the Western Conference with 91 points, bumping out the St. Louis Blues 4-2-8-5. "I've been in this situation before," Smith said. "It's about playing to the end. You're paid real good money to be in this league and even when you're not in a playoff spot, you don't take it for granted. I think that's for the older players, but for younger players, I don't think anyone's safe. There's trades, younger players coming in. It's about auditioning for next and it's about giving it everything you've got every night. That's about being a professional and being a professional athlete, and that's what we should expect down the stretch." But has Smith seen that? "Like I said, I thought we battled hard tonight," he replied. "I thought we competed hard. I'm repeating myself by saying penalty troubles are where it started. The effort was there and that's what we've got to keep doing." Next up, the Flames return to Calgary for a 3-game homestand versus the Columbus Blue Jackets Thursday, Edmonton Oilers Saturday, and Arizona Coyotes April 3rd. They'll travel to Winnipeg for one off against the Jets April 5th before wrapping up there on April 7th at home against the Vegas Golden Knights. Note, the Flames released a statement regarding Johnny Gaudreau, who missed Monday's game at Los Angeles to be with his family in Carneys Point, NJ. The 24-year-old winger's father, Guy Gaudreau, suffered a cardiac event heart attack on Sunday morning. "It puts everything into perspective and we wish them nothing but the best," said Flames head coach Glenn Guluthson. "We're a family-first organization and we feel for Johnny. We know how close that family is and we're with him 100%. Kings DJ Muzzin absorbed a heavy check from Flames LW Michael Ferland early in the second period and DIDNT returned for the remainder of the game. Calgary swapped backup netminders on Monday, sending David Rittich back to the Stockton Heat while Don Gillies was on the bench at Staples Center. Canderson at postmedia.com, Twitter /Cadote Anderson.